Looking to make some healthier habits this holiday season? Make sure to check out our Moving Through Midlife community over on Facebook, as we are doing a Planksgiving event where we are doing daily plank workouts. We will be doing an Advent for healthy, happy hips this holiday season, and then also have a sugar challenge, a 2-week sugar challenge that you might be interested in. Happy holidays! Welcome to Raising Healthy Humans. I am your host, Courtney, a personal trainer and health coach, and the founder of FormFit, a community where I help busy moms move more. As a busy and sometimes overwhelmed mom of 3 myself, I understand that it can be difficult to find ways to live and raise healthy families. It is my goal to help provide you with the information you need to help raise healthy humans. I have another great episode for you today. Today I am speaking with Cara with Core4 Parenting, and what she does is she takes her education with early childhood education and parenting to create a program providing parents with a toolkit of information needed to be their child's first and best teacher. Whether you are new to motherhood or not, I feel like the information she's providing today has so much to do with communication on a whole. And I took so much away that I can now start to implement with my own children, being that they're 16, 14, and 10. So we can all work to become better communicators. And I think the information that you are hearing today is truly valuable, and I hope you enjoy it.
Well, first, thanks so much for having me. This is such a great podcast and I was excited that you told me, yes, I can be on it. So I'm Cara Tyrell, founder of Core4 Parenting. And this is what I call the second half of my life, right? I'm 45. The second half of my life, I'm driving this bus, and it's going to be the best half of my life. The first half of my life was equally wonderful. I'm a lover of littles. I've forever been connected to small people. I get them, they get me. So I went and I got degrees in it. Right? I got my bachelor's degree in American Sign Language, and I have a linguistics degree, and then I got my master's in education, and I got certifications in early reading instruction. And I thought, this is how I'm going to serve the small people of the world. I will be their teacher. I will open doors for them. And then something crazy happened. I started feeling like all the children who were coming to me in my pre-K and my kindergarten classes, regardless of being hearing or deaf, were not ready to be there. They knew their ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, colors and numbers, but that's not what I wanted from them all day long. I needed them to know how to be part of the classroom as a whole.
Okay.
Right? I needed them to understand how to share space with friends and how to interact with other people, how to own their own emotions. So the social emotional, the interpersonal, and the physical body control skills. And so I said, after about 10 to 12 years in the industry, I said, I think it's time for me to go to the source.
Mm-hmm.
So I left the classroom and I became a full-time nanny. And I was able to scoop kids up at birth, essentially, and test all my methodologies and let them know, okay, I'm going to be working with, let the parents know, I'm going to be working with your kids from birth. And the goal is when you send them to pre-K or when you send them to kindergarten, they have these 4 readiness skills in an equitable base, and they find greater success in the classroom. And it was working. And so COVID hit, and I said, you know what? It's time to take this to the world. The world needs this right now.
Can you explain what the Core4 are?
Sure. And actually, it's a dual core.
Okay.
There's 2. So I've created what I call the dual core development model.
Okay.
And the first core are the Core4 connectors with little people as early as 3 months old, when their brain development really starts to make connections, they need to know that they are connected to their caregivers, parents, childcare providers, whoever it might be, in a very intentional way. So the core four relationship connectors are mutual honesty, trust, open communication, and respect.
Okay.
And when we develop that way of interacting with our little people, then we can say to ourselves and to them, I see opportunities to help you develop the core four readiness skills that you need to find success in school and life. And those are the interpersonal, the physical, the social emotional, and the cognitive development.
Okay. And you work on each one of these, or are they all kind of melded together through your program?
You've got it. So
Okay.
what makes it so complicated is that this is a symbiotic experience, right? The only way to help a child develop the skill of turn taking is to be able to have very intentional, safe, honest, respectful conversations with them about what's happening in their space. So one cannot exist without the other. And so we work with parents to teach them how to create that environment, that really exceptional, safe environment that lends itself to the higher learning during those invisible learning years where maximum growth is happening in brain capacity.
Okay. And what years are those?
Yeah, so in the early childhood development space, there's no finite answer. I like to say 85 by 5, right? 85% of foundational brain growth, literally the size of the brain, is done by 5 years old.
Okay.
And if you think about it, that's when people were sending their kids to me. So we were in a losing proposition. We'd lost that window of time to really evolve those skills to where we needed them to be for a large group learning setting.
Okay.
Which made my job a lot harder.
Right. What are you teaching parents to do at these young ages?
So first of all, we like to say at Core4 that we are, there's a duality in everything, right? We are a parenting, personal development community that teaches parents how to be their child's first and best teacher through early childhood development skill bases.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the education piece, but that parenting personal development piece matters a lot, right? Just because you become one doesn't mean that you have all this foundational work. You go get a new job and everybody says, okay, here's the manual, here's the onboarding system, here's who you call if you need support. This person is the last person who had this job. They're going to be able to help you troubleshoot anything that comes along. You don't get that. You were raised by a parent, so guess what? You should probably know how to do this.
Right. Yeah.
So the very first thing we do with parents is we say, let's take a deep breath and step back. You chose to have this baby for a reason. You chose to bring a new life into this big world, which is changing all the time. What is your goal? Who would you like to raise? Not what, not doctor, lawyer, CEO. Who would you like to raise? What qualities and characteristics do you want to interact with your child? And then develop in them so that they take those characteristics and values into the world. And when you frame it like that for parents, they have this, it's like you just took the weight of the world off their shoulders. They're like, oh, it's really not all about feeding schedules and wake windows and dream sleeps and dream feeds. Like, I can let that go for a minute. And the answer is yes. Let's set the stage for the quality of the experience that you desire to have first. And then we can talk about all these strategies that make your life a little easier.
Okay. So is there a certain way that we should be speaking to our children to get what we're wanting from them? Like you mentioned.
Absolutely. So, you hear people talk a lot about speaking to your children like you would speak to any other adult.
Hmm.
Speak in full sentences, use your normal speaking voice. All of those things are absolutely true. I take it one step further and I say, narrate for your child. Narrate for your 3 month old, your 6 month old, your 9 month old. Those invisible wheels and cogs are turning in their
Hmm.
brain.
Hmm.
And the more they hear complex and complete speech, the more you're literally the architect of their language brain.
Hmm.
So narrate for them. Wow, today was really a hard day for me. I'm going to go make a cup of tea and then I will sit here and we will play together.
Hmm. Okay.
Speak to them. And the second part of that is they can sign, they can use American Sign Language or
Mhm.
whatever language is your first native language. They can use signs kinesthetically with their motor skills and move their hands long before their body is capable of making actual speech sounds. So give them that gift. Give them a voice before they have a voice, and you will find there's an ease and communication flow instead of a growing communication frustration.
Okay. And is that part of your program? You teach sign language
I do.
for them when they're very young?
I do.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. We actually just wrapped yesterday filming the entire course. It's
Oh,
called
wow.
Sign to Speak Communication Foundations to Use with Your Baby. And it's really a powerful system because we break it down into different categories, the basic needs,
Hmm.
right? Just those
Hmm.
things you do all the time. And the
Hmm.
needs, wants, and desires. And then health, hygiene, and safety. And we make it so manageable by spiraling the one sign a day into the curriculum.
Oh, okay. So they're learning one new sign a day. Is that what you
Yeah.
mean? Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Perfect. I think about my children are older now, but when they were little, that used to be a major frustration. Is
Hmm.
if they were trying to communicate. I remember my daughter standing in front of the refrigerator just speaking, and it was before I had really grasped. You get to a point where you start to know what they're saying, but
Yeah.
I hadn't grasped whatever this word was. And she was so angry that I could not figure out what it was. I just remember, the feeling of helplessness as a mom, not knowing,
Yeah.
I know you want something. I know it's something in here. I'm pointing at everything and I cannot figure out what it is. So to be able to have something like that is
Yeah.
a
Think
great.
about as an adult when you know exactly what you are trying to say, but for some reason you just can't get that word. It's like the tip of the tongue idea, and you're just so frustrated because you should know how to communicate it.
Right.
That is the level of frustration your children have while their receptive language skills, their what they understand from what you're saying to them
Mhm.
is not yet in alignment with their expressive language skills, their ability to tell you exactly what they're thinking, feeling, and wanting.
Mhm.
It's a gap. And if you fill it, guess what you're doing? You are developing that respect and you're developing that trust and you are literally giving them an open communication channel.
Mhm.
And there's that core foundation.
And I love how a moment ago you were explaining like how they're feeling, how you're feeling as a mom. And I'm feeling tired and I want to go sit down, because when I think about raising my children, I grew up with books. My mother read constantly. I mean, she worked in bookstores. She still does to this day. So books are very much a part of our life. So we read a lot to our kids. When you speak about different things, like I would communicate all types of things, everything I saw when I'd walk my son around. This is such and such. But that emotional, I don't think I ever stated that. So I like bringing that in as well, because I think we think like, oh, we've got to teach them this is a ball, things like that. But that emotional side of it as well, like,
Yeah.
so they can really start to understand, oh, mom's looking tired. She told me, like,
And how are they going to learn to label their own emotions, to
yeah.
understand how they're feeling, unless they're hearing emotional vocabulary around them?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the other thing I would love to add about early language and what we do, as we don't even mean to,
Mm-hmm.
I ask new parents to sit and listen to themselves, maybe even tape themselves with their little audio recorder on their phone for 10 minutes, and then count how many times they asked their child a question.
Mm-hmm.
We quiz kids all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you like that? Oh, do you want that? We quiz, we quiz, we quiz. Oh, what color is that? What sound does the sheep make?
Uh-huh.
But they're not there. Like, we need to be talking with them and talking to them as much as we are requesting information from them. That balance is very important.
I have to kind of giggle here because my first son, the very first thing he ever said, and this will let you see, I obviously was asking lots of questions, was, what's that? He didn't say it like that. He'd be like, what that? What that? What
Mhm.
that? And that's because I always said that to him. What's that? That's a da 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 da. So that's interesting that you said that. That was I mean, I do think that it was valuable for him, but
Sure.
yeah, but to see the other side as well, just the constant questioning.
Another thing I get from parents all the time, and this is typically parents of toddlers, but I am definitely bringing it down to those earliest months for new parents, is why does my child constantly tell me that they want things? I want this. I want that. I want this. I want my milk. And I said, well, think about it. Without even realizing it for a couple years, what did you say to them?
Yeah.
Do you want this? Do you want that? Would you? And that's how they believe the
Mm-hmm.
question is phrased. So we're doing it from a place of love.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you want your toy? Here it is. But 2 years later, they start saying they want everything, and we think, how rude. How did this happen? So intentional language use from the start really plays a major role. Just for your listeners, if you're looking for the reframe, I start with, would you like? Would you like your milk?
Okay.
Would you like this toy? Yeah. It looks like you need fill in the blank. And then we can, work that later once they have speech. But that way, I know what I'm putting in.
And you mentioned in the beginning really thinking about what you want from your child,
Mm-hmm.
how you want your child to be as they grow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in thinking, I noticed you had mentioned that you help parents find their why.
Yeah.
Can you speak more into this?
Sure. Well, if any of your listeners are into personal development at all, they know your deep whys,
Mm-hmm.
that thing that drives you. And as a parent, I can't think of a deeper, more comprehensive why than doing the best you like upskilling yourself to do the best you can for your child. So we work with parents to develop their parenting GPS, that long-term goal. So parents, I say you have a 6-month-old in your hand. Uh-huh. Okay. Now picture this kid at 20 years and 6 months, right?
Right.
And they
Yeah.
go, whoa, oh my gosh, I can't do that.
No.
And I said, he just got his first job. He has been there 3 weeks. And his boss runs into you at the local coffee shop, waves you down on purpose to tell you we could not be more glad that your son has joined our company because he is so, and we have them fill in the blank.
Okay.
He's so kind. He's so friendly. He's so punctual. He has, he has the ability to step in and solve a problem without asking anybody to do it in return. Whatever it is that those characteristics, and we give people, a list to choose from to help them get their brain going. That's who
Mhm.
you'd like to raise.
Mhm.
Now, how you're going to do that, that's a different story. But you can't know how to design your home, how to design your interactions with your children, how to draw the line and hold tight to that borderline. You can't know any of those things unless you know why you're making those choices in the moment. So then we take it a step further and we say, okay, so now you know why this matters to you so much. We're going to help you draft a personalized PMS, a parenting mission statement. And it is your language. You print it out or you screenshot it on your phone. And it's that little back pocket reminder when there's been 4 meltdowns in a day, when you're pretty sure you've got to take that bottle of wine out before they go to bed. You're like, okay, what is my mission statement? What is my big goal? I can do this for 20 more minutes and then I can sit and take my break.
So, if we've created our mission statement and we have our why, how do
Mhm.
we start to work on providing that? I mean, you're talking about maybe a 1 year old. How are we
Mhm.
starting to work with them to help create this, what we're looking for? I'm just thinking, my goodness, that's so much.
It is so
So,
much.
yeah.
Okay. So the first thing we have, Courtney, is we have our virtual village, right?
Okay.
This is our safe community for like-minded Core 4 parents. Everyone in this community has their own mission statement and they have their own why, but that you collectively, we're all just looking to raise really, really capable kids who can take on this world and make a positive, valuable impact.
Right.
Okay. So inside the community, we have education, and that education follows the developmental age and stage of your child.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have a 1 year old and you're thinking, this child is now walking, this child is not quite talking, this child is doing a lot of thinking. And my goal right now in this moment is to help them communicate effectively with me.
Mhm.
So we avoid the tantrum.
Okay.
So we have education around that because as someone with a degree in it, I can pinpoint for you. I can teach you what's happening inside your child's brain right now
Mhm.
because all we see is the external.
Right.
So just having someone to be able to say this is what's happening inside their brain is really, really helpful. So inside the community, we navigate all that. We have monthly topics and monthly themes, and you've got access to all the other parents who are doing the exact same thing you're doing. And then if you are having specific challenges that you need to solve inside the home right away, that's when you can decide, I need to take the sleep soothing system course.
Okay.
If I don't get some good sleep and my child doesn't get some good sleep soon, we are all going to forget why we're doing this. That's when you can hop in and take the communication frustration course with the ASL program. So you can navigate through this village and be getting the love you need, the support you need. I hop in weekly and do a live Q&A. Just hit me up and I'll give you my immediate response. And so that's how we do this. And then for people who really just need that next level support, and I know those people, right? I've been those people who are just like, I hear everything you're saying to me, and I love everything you're saying to me, but I just need you to hold my hand a little while so I can get through this. We do have a one-to-many masterclass where we go really deep and support each other for 8 weeks.
When you're working with families, with the communication, it's not just communication. This is all sorts of parenting skills that you're working
Right.
on. Okay.
Mhm. Putting in routines that are
Oh, okay.
predictable, that kids know what to expect so they can work within them. Teaching parents how to create supported and fluent transitions because
Okay.
transitions can be a big trigger for kids.
Right.
We bring in music. We use that other half of the brain
Okay.
right? Because language and music come from a different space.
Hmm.
And so for kids who are struggling, we have a class of transition songs for toddlers. Yes, we use all kinds of different methods and theories to be. And then what I do is I'm able to help parents personalize the strategies that work for who their child is. Because
Okay.
you and I have been talking about who we desire to raise, and that's wonderful. That's our nurture, right? That's
Right.
the environment. But guess what? They come into the world kind of with a preset nature.
Hmm. Hmm.
And as parents, it's our job to observe it, honor it, and then work with their true nature to design our nurturing environment. And that's where the magic happens.
Okay. Okay. So it's not just the community, it's everything.
It's
Yeah.
everything,
And then your children are able to then communicate to you
right?
basically who they want to be as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, again, with that emotional language, right? I see this is really hard for you. It's easy for your sister. This is something that comes naturally to her. This is really hard for you. And so I'm going to help you to get through this tricky thing. I'm going to teach you a strategy to get through this tricky thing. And I talk to kids like that.
Okay. Now, do you just work with children up to 5, or are you going beyond those years?
So Core4 Parenting is really a digital initiative, right? Everything is on demand or online. And our goal is to empower parents to be able to be that for their kids,
Okay.
right? That I'm not going to be working one-on-one with the kids, which is why I said the second half of my life. I do scoop up kids from the past so that I can feed my soul and keep moving forward. Um, but serving one family at a time, serving a handful of kids at a time, it's not enough.
Right.
This needs to be bigger than that. Make more impact quickly. So yes, Core4 serves parents who are still pregnant and looking to design, get their mindset right
Okay.
before they have the baby, all the way up through parents who are sending their kids to kindergarten and saying, it's your turn to do this in a different setting than here at home.
Okay. So for those of us who have older children,
For those of you that have
we're
older,
we're lost. It's beyond time for them, right?
so no, it's not.
Because
Definitely
I'm
not.
listening to a lot of what you say, and these are things that we could still be doing.
Mhm,
That like even though my children, I didn't speak to my children maybe the way you had mentioned in
mhm.
regards to my feelings. I mean, there are other ways that we have shown our feelings over the years, but I mean that this is still valuable information for them as well to kind of, especially when our children are getting to that age where they're having trouble showing their anger, and the
Right.
ways that they may be showing it are not the ways that you want them to show it. I'm thinking of my son here. He got upset about something, and he was punching something, not anybody, but he was, and it was like, that's, so we had to speak to him through that. I,
Yeah.
but I find that this is valuable. This would be valuable information.
Okay, so I have a 16-year-old and I have an 18-year-old, right?
Okay.
And my 18-year-old, when she had a tough first 5 years. There's no doubt about it. She was given to me for a very good reason.
Okay.
Um, so when she would get like that, because she was an external angry child,
Hmm.
I would use the language, wow, your body looks so angry right now. Oh my gosh, you are so mad that your fist is hitting that pillow. You must be even more mad than I know, right? And continue to let her know, I see you.
Okay.
I understand that your body needs to get this out. However, there are ways that we are allowed to get this out, and there are ways that we are not. Another really valuable skill and tool that I teach are the two positive choices. So in this case, it would be your body needs to be mad. You can go be mad on the trampoline, or you can go be mad with your jump rope. Which do you choose?
Okay.
I'm empowering my kid to make her own choice, to solve her own emotion. And then when she comes back from whichever one, usually it was the trampoline, whichever, when she comes back, you can just see the difference in her body. And then we revisit the conversation.
Okay.
Your body looks different. I can tell you got out all your madness. And then we go into a whole different conversation to try to get to the root of it, right? But what I see parents do a lot is they go straight to, they see the anger trying to get out. It's maybe not coming out in a way that's very appropriate. They go straight to, you can't do that.
Right. Fix the problem.
That's not an okay thing to do. And we miss the whole middle. And so what we're doing, we call that crisis resolution solution, right? What we're doing is we're band-aiding the solution, and we know we're going to be back there again another day. Instead of teaching the skill of, I feel this emotion. It's my job to try to discharge this emotion in a way that is okay to do. I can solve my own problem, and I'll figure out why I was so mad later.
Okay.
There is a lot to it. So to answer your original question, this can go well beyond 5 years old.
Yeah.
The digital on-demand, the delivery system that we're creating for new parents, that is definitely focused on birth to 5.
Right.
My parent coaching, my one-to-one self can definitely work with people who have kids of all ages.
Right. Well, I think you're teaching them, what I'm hearing you is working through their problem, working through their emotions by communicating effectively and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think so many of us, even thinking about my oldest, when he was younger, he would get angry and he'd go in his room and he'd pound on the pillow. And, you, in these situations, you want to try to stop that situation or make it better. Like we always want to just make it better when maybe it has nothing to do about making it better. It's they have these feelings, just like with sadness. If they're sad about something, we're trying to, stop. Like, what can we do to get you to stop crying? But working through. Yeah.
I'm famous for saying you're allowed to be angry, but you're not allowed to do this. Right. Okay. The little girl, the last little girl, it's just so sad that I nannied for. She's 4 now. And I scooped her up the other day for a special lunch date, and it was great. And she's sitting in the car, and from the back seat I hear, "Nanny Cara, I listen to your words." I say, "Yeah, you do." She's like, I listen to you. I don't listen to my new nanny.
Oh.
I am not nice to my new nanny. And she went on to list for me all the things that her body does to show how she is not very nice to this other person. And here's what I know. We tell them that. If a kid touches another kid or hits another child or kicks another child, we say, "Don't do that. That's not nice." Right? So we're adding a layer of emotion to an already emotional child who's using their body to express how they feel. And so they just walk away thinking, "I'm not nice." And so obviously she and I had a very different conversation. And I tried to bring it around for her to a different way. But those are the type of things that as caregivers, as parents, we don't even realize we're doing it. And so Core4 is all about busting open all those ways that we just thought were the way things were done. And it takes a really strong parent to say, I'm going to kick off this shell, right? I'm going to look at my past and say, I love the way my mom did this, this, and this. I'm definitely going to keep those as part of my parenting paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
But these other things, I think I'm going to let those go. I love when my dad did this, this, and this, but these other things, those words he said, I can start to see how that was not helpful in me developing who I wanted to interact with the world as. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'm thinking because I find myself, you start to see your parents and yourself as you get older.
Amen.
And there are things, like you said, like there are wonderful things you see in yourself, but then there are also things that you see where you're like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. How do you get, and I don't know if this is something you can answer, but so many of the things that we do are immediate responses.
They
How
are.
do we slow that down? How do we slow those immediate responses?
My favorite question ever. So that crisis, that reactive, that knee-jerk reaction
Mhm.
way of solving goes away when we engage our brain. And that is why we start with mindfulness.
Okay.
That's why we switch our mindset. That's why we add perspective. I teach parents how to be able to see things from their perspective and from their kids' perspective. And science has clearly shown in the world of mindfulness and meditation and all those other personal development spaces, you can't do both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot stop for even a fraction of a second to have a thought and have a second thought, that perspective piece, and have a knee-jerk reaction simultaneously.
No.
It's not possible.
Right.
So if our systems and our strategies are based in thoughtful, proactive processes,
Mm-hmm.
you don't knee-jerk react. Even if the only thought you have is, I don't want to be my mom right now. It's still a thought. And it redirects you and it grounds you and then it asks you, okay, so who do you want to be right now? How do you want to interact with this right now? What is the result you're looking for? That the baby just stops crying?
Mm-hmm.
Or that you help the child to learn to soothe themselves and give them that skill? You got to stop. And
Right.
that's why people say count to 10. That's why people say walk out the door and come back in. It's the stopping and then the thinking.
So speaking about that child, that's self-soothing. Can you provide us with any information in regards to that? How do you teach them to self-soothe in that situation?
So self-soothing is synonymous with sleep, right? People hear and talk about that a lot. And I have a sleep soothing system that is not a sleep training system. There's no cry it out involved.
Okay.
And the goal is exactly that. Our kids need to learn the skill of my body feels out of control. I'm upset about something. Oh, wait, I know how to calm myself down. That is the ultimate goal. And it expands well beyond the crib, right?
I'm thinking like even just an anxious child, what you're saying here. Yeah.
So, there's so many different ways, but my favorite is to create a connection with an object. Okay. So in the sleep system, we use a lovey, right? Mm-hmm. And I have parents sleep with the lovey.
Okay.
Long before that they're doing this system. And then all of us, and then we bring parent, child, and lovey together, and there's a connection. And then when the child is trying something on their own for the first time, they have this lovey that smells like mom and smells like dad, right? There's this object that has kind of magical powers for this kid. Beyond that, a child can pick anything. And this is why knowing who they are is so key. You said books were important in your life.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If I know, and I've nannied for kids like this in the past, where books were really soothing for them, that would be one of the two positive choices that I would give them when I would see them elevating. It looks like your body is out of control. You need to make a choice to help yourself calm down. Would you like to go sit with a book, or do you need to cuddle with your lovey right now?
Okay.
I'm arming them with the choice
Mm-hmm.
and something I know is going to help them be calm. And what happens over time when you continue to provide those opportunities for the child is they will stun you. I've had a kid run into the kitchen and say to me, I am so mad right now. So and so just did this thing, and I'm just going to go upstairs for a minute and cuddle. I'll be back. They take ownership of what feels good and what feels safe. And I will say this again, it's a very intentional parent that can handle the Core4 method.
Mm-hmm.
But if you set yourself up to be your child's soother, and you are always the one who brings them back to center, they will always expect it to be you at 2, at 4, at 12. And because they're going through those massive developmental processes and shifts at those ages, it's going to look different. It's going to sound different. And all of a sudden, this idea of a sweet little cuddle bug in your lap who's now 12, velcroing themselves onto you, saying, help me, soothe me, I don't feel good, and you're the one who fixes this, does not feel as good to you as it once did.
No, no.
You set them up with the skills to do it themselves, and then you can say to them, I know you're capable of this. This is your job now. I will talk to you all day. I will listen to what's going on. We can problem solve that way together. But controlling your own body and owning your own emotions, that's now your job.
Well, I'm just thinking because I know that your program is designed
Mhm.
for pregnancy, like you mentioned, pregnancy to 5, but so much of what you've just said is so valuable for all age. I just keep thinking it's not all lost if you have
It's
children
not.
over 5. Your information is valuable. There's so much that you
Thank
can
you.
take from it. Yeah.
But what you're saying is 100% valid as well,
Yeah.
especially if parents of 6, 10, 12, 16-year-olds have a really strong relationship with their child.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
It's absolutely possible.
mm-hmm.
And like I said, one-to-one, I'm limited in what I can do with one-to-one time right now as far as coaching services. But I do have spots throughout the month. And if people really are resonating with this and saying, even just 30 minutes, I think would get me on the right path.
Right.
Well, I'll make sure you have that link.
Okay. So can you tell me about your programs and what you offer? I know you've already touched on a lot of the information, but it sounds like it's a lot more. You offer quite a lot within the Core4. So you're starting from pregnancy.
So you don't have to start at pregnancy.
Right.
It's that this virtual village that we have designed is available to you to come in at any point.
Okay.
Right? If you are in your last trimester of pregnancy and you'd really like to be hanging out with other people who are like 3 or 6 months ahead of you, great, come on in. We welcome you. We'll get you ready.
Okay.
If your child is 2 and you're struggling and you think, yes, those are the people I want to be around and learn from and lean on, then great, come on in. We are available with developmental courses up to 5 years old in the village.
Okay.
Outside of that, different story, but that's how we really just want to help people calm themselves enough to be able to do what they really want to do. Because who doesn't?
Right.
Who doesn't want to give their kid their best start?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
And do you offer any type of guides or anything in regards to that to help families?
Yes. So families can go to the website. We have a free webinar.
Okay.
After you watch the free webinar, you can download the 7-page guide
Okay.
that walks you through setting your own parenting GPS, writing your own parenting mission statement, and then there's the invitation to come in and join us in the village if you'd like a little bit more support and you feel like you need other people around you. But there's definitely a guide there to start on your own. And then as we grow, we will be adding some additional resources inside the masterclass.
Okay.
There's tons of resources, the strategy guide, how you stack your strategies. But I really don't like to throw that out there until people have come in and done the first 3 modules of work, which are mindset, perspective, and understanding your baby's brain. Because if you give someone a tool without knowing how to use it, they don't get the effect that they're looking for. And my job is to add value to your life, to add transformation to your life.
Perfect. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners?
I really want parents to know, whatever phase and stage they're already at in that early year space, there is no guilt. There is no should have or could have, right? Don't get sucked into the guilt, the mama guilt and the daddy guilt. Oh, I wish I'd known this sooner. Oh, I wish I'd started this sooner. Yes, those foundational brain years are important, but guess what else your kids are? They're brilliant during those years. They bounce back incredibly quickly. They learn new skills incredibly quickly. So don't be afraid to ask for help. There's no shame in it whatsoever. And what you're going to get when you ask for help is a community who values you so much that you just feel so empowered.
Perfect. And where can we find you?
So if you'd like to just kind of follow along and see what we're up to, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Core4 Parenting. And then if you want to know more about me and my background and my expertise, you can go find me on LinkedIn at Cara Tyrell. And then we have our website, which is core4parenting.com. It's under construction on the fly. I'm not taking it down. So if you go one day and then you see like, oh, wait, that looks different, that's on purpose. And if you join us in the village, you're going to notice that our village is also under construction. And there's a lot of changes happening there because we are always wanting to do better and be better for you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to this episode. I hope you found the information Cara provided valuable. And I will make sure to put all of her information in the show notes for you so that you can go there and click on the links that she has mentioned previously. And also make sure to head to Form Fit Mom Community over on Facebook, where we are going to be going into this a little bit deeper. And also with the new year coming, we are providing a 5-day movement challenge for you. So make sure to head over there and always reach out to me if you have any questions. And I wish you all a happy new year. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you could do me a favor, if you like what you hear, could you leave us a review or take a screenshot and share your favorite takeaway on social media? And make sure to tag us over at raising_healthy humans. Now go out and enjoy more movement throughout your day.